Every day, something dramatic happens in the Caribbean that affects our lives. We'll give you the details. We'll give you the facts on Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick. Here's Eddie Frederick.
Welcome to Caribbean Perspective. So glad you can join us. The story that dominates in today's edition for Friday, 19th September 2025, and brought to you in association with our friends at Antillean Group. President of Colombia lashes out at U.S. over Venezuela boat strike. Details after this important message.
Believe in our strength, we'll stand by you. Protection from all, perils big and small. Reassurance we give, it's so glad to see. Peace of mind, that's our service guarantee. We look after all our family. Yes, we do at every opportunity.
Antillean Group, underwriters of all classes of insurance solutions for your protection and investment. Live well financially.
The hurricane season is now upon us, so we as Caribbean people need to remember to think safety and be prepared. Avoid venturing outside during a storm or hurricane, especially if there are strong winds. Rooftops and other debris are often blown about and can cause great damage.
Welcome back. Colombian President Gustavo Petro sharply criticized U.S. President Donald Trump following the United States' second strike on a vessel allegedly involved in drug trafficking off the Venezuelan coast. More in this WION News item.
The Colombian president lashing out at the U.S. government during a cabinet meeting at the presidential palace following the recent attack by the U.S. military on a ship allegedly carrying drugs from Venezuela. Listen to this.
They have just destroyed another boat with 3 people on board, even if they were carrying cocaine. Killing 3 passengers on an unarmed and unarmored boat with a missile is murder. And the United States government is murdering Latin American people in their own land because it is territorial waters.
In fact, the comments coming as Colombia halted arms purchases from the U.S., its biggest military partner, after Washington decertified the South American country as anti-drugs ally for failing to halt cocaine trafficking. On Monday, Trump denounced Petro for not only failing to curb cocaine production, but overseeing its surge to all-time records. This amid a major drive by Trump against Latin American drug cartels. On Tuesday, he claimed that the U.S. had knocked off 3 suspected Venezuelan drug boats, up from a previous tally of 2. Trump's administration has faced questions over the legality of such strikes since its first attack early this month, which killed 11 people. 3 were killed in the second strike. The U.S. government has released videos of the strikes and claims it has refutable evidence. The people killed were traffickers seeking to ship deadly drugs to the U.S. Trump has told Venezuela to stop sending gang members to the country. Tension spiraling in the Caribbean as a large U.S. naval buildup has also triggered speculation that Washington may be seeking regime change in Venezuela. The Venezuelan president has called for national unity in the face of what he considers a threat of war. Maduro avoided referring to the strikes directly, but accused the U.S. of subjecting Venezuela to an absolutely reprehensible, criminal and immoral threat.
And the way for us to contain the threat, neutralize it, and defeat it completely so that peace may prevail is through the unity of all sectors of Venezuela, above political, ideological, color, culture, race, and religious differences. National unity, national unity, national unity.
There is no fractured leadership at the helm of the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service, TTPS. This is, according to Police Commissioner Alistair Guevara, who responded to media reports on the reassignment of DCPs Junior Benjamin, Natasha George and Suzette Martin. He explained that the reassignment of portfolios was a strategic approach to executive development within the TTPS. TTT News has details.
The rumor of a fractured leadership at the helm of the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service is totally untrue. This according to Police Commissioner Alistair Guevara, who responded to erroneous media reports that the reassignments of DCPs Junior Benjamin, Natasha George and Suzette Martin was unfair. However, the top cop refuted these claims, saying the reassignments of the portfolios was a strategic approach to executive development within the TTPS.
So when I saw recent media speculation suggesting that the rotation of deputy commissioners of police was a result of internal discord, I was completely taken aback, because that is not only unfounded, but it misrepresents a deliberate and forward-looking leadership strategy. The reassignment of DCPs Junior Benjamin, Natasha George, and Suzette Martin was planned to coincide with two key milestones: the completion of 1 year in office, and noted that their reassignment was one of recognition of their capacity to lead across multiple domains. By rotating leadership at a strategic level, I envision the strengthening of institutional cohesion, fostering innovation and reinforcing our commitment to building a resilient and modern police service.
The police commissioner also commented on the 16 months leave Assistant Commissioner of Police for Central and Southwest Divisions Wayne Meister has embarked on.
ACP Meister holds a strategic level position and thus falls outside of the operational and tactical command levels. Leadership decisions within the TTPS are guided by institutional priorities and not personalities or even speculation. I remain focused on building a service that is disciplined, adaptive, and worthy of public trust. And as such, I encourage citizens to rely on official TTPS communications for accurate information.
You're listening to Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick,
in association with our friends at
Antillian Group, underwriters of all classes of insurance solutions for your protection and investment. Live well financially.
The Bahamas has recently been included on a U.S. drug transit list. Kovel Pyfron of ZNS News reports.
The list names the Bahamas along with other Caribbean countries like Jamaica, Haiti, and the Dominican Republic among major drug transit or major illicit drug producing countries. Now, the White House is clarifying that inclusion on this list is not necessarily a judgment on a nation's government's enforcement efforts or cooperation with the U.S. in its fight against drug trafficking. Now, this is not the first time the Bahamas is making this list. And for his part, Foreign Affairs Minister, the Honorable Fred Mitchell, appeared indifferent on the issue when he spoke with our news team this morning.
Well, the United States is one of the major drug-consuming nations. That's all I have to say about that.
Just last week, President Trump's nominee for ambassador to the Bahamas, Herschel Walker, during hearings before the Senate's Foreign Relations Committee, asserted that the absence of a U.S. ambassador to the Bahamas has made the country more vulnerable to drug and human trafficking, vowing at the time to forge closer ties with law enforcement agencies, both in the U.S. and here.
And I feel that that's the most important thing, is to make all the law enforcement feel that they're important. I think they've gotten so much negative that now I love to make them know that they're important. They're the reason why. And I can build a championship team if we're all working together. And I can commit to that I can get them to know how important that they will be in the Bahamas and getting things done.
Meanwhile, National Security Minister, the Honorable Wayne Monroe, has repeatedly pushed back against any linking of the Bahamas to drug trafficking, blaming the rise in the transport of drugs on Colombia.
The reality that's driving the uptick in cocaine trafficking is that the government of Colombia, who used to destroy coca fields, took a policy decision to stop doing that. And so cocaine production has gone up in South America. So therefore the amount of it flowing north would increase. That's a problem not only for us, that's a problem for everyone.
It is worth noting that this announcement of this list comes as President Trump is ramping up his fight on drug trafficking, just recently ordering 2 military strikes on vessels near Venezuela believed to be transporting drugs. The Venezuelan government, though, has refuted claims, calling the U.S.'s actions, which killed more than a dozen people, acts of aggression.
St. Lucia is currently hosting the CARICOM Regional Energy Efficiency Building Code meeting, where engineers, energy experts, and policymakers have been engaged in a 2-day workshop to review and update regional building codes and performance standards. The ongoing discussions form part of the Caribbean's drive to advance greener, more energy-efficient buildings while strengthening climate resilience across the region. Choice TV St. Lucia News has this report.
St. Lucia is taking center stage in the regional push for sustainable construction. The island hosted the CARICOM Regional Energy Efficiency Building Code meeting, bringing together top engineers, energy experts, and policymakers from across the CARICOM region. At the 2-day workshop, which began on Tuesday, September 16th, stakeholders met to review the Regional Energy Efficiency Building Code and minimum energy performance standards for buildings across the Caribbean, designed to cut energy use and promote greener, more resilient development. Delivering the feature address, Honorable Stephenson King, Minister for Infrastructure, Ports, Transport, Physical Development and Urban Renewal, underscored the critical role of stakeholder participation in this process.
The work ahead of us is ambitious but necessary. Buildings, whether residential, commercial or public, are among the highest consumers of energy in our economies in the region. In many of our countries, including St. Lucia, they account for up to 40% of total energy consumption. This has implications for economic sustainability, energy security, and most critically, climate resilience.
The minister added that outcomes from these consultations are expected to drive stronger, more resilient development.
We are not just revising documents. We are setting the foundation for a new standard of building practice in our region, one that is energy conscious, climate resilient, and future ready. The outcome should be a practical implementation option for the project.
Andre Charles, Head of Standards at the St. Lucia Bureau of Standards, emphasized his organization's role in ensuring regional building codes uphold top energy efficiency standards and align with international best practices for sustainable construction.
We go through the standards development process through consultations with our regional project team, and we have some consultants from Deloitte India who are part of that development process. And we see that we must have that harmonization on that technical level. So this, by the time this standard has been published, it is a strong regional standard without leaving out any countries, without leaving out any member states. So quite important in terms of the role of leadership.
Jason Andel, CEO, Project Manager at the Caribbean Center for Renewable Energy and Energy Efficiency, spoke on how his team is supporting the rollout and enforcement of a regional energy standard.
Our role coordinates regionally, engaging stakeholders and provide technical and strategic support so countries can move from code language to real-world result, efficient buildings, lower operating costs, and greater climate resilience consistent with CARICOM's development priorities and our strategic goals.
For Choice News Now, I am Dyrod Lionel.
I am Eddie Frederick, wishing you a restful weekend. This has been Caribbean Perspective, a whole new approach to highlighting developments in the Caribbean.
In the meantime, please follow us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel for daily regional news and more, in association with our friends at Antillian Group.
Believe in our strength, we'll stand by you. Protection from all perils, big and small. Reassurance we give, it's so clear to see. Peace of mind, that's our service
Antillean Group, underwriters of all classes of insurance solutions for your protection and investment. Live well financially.